Actor, television host Ernie Dingo has been charged with allegedly slapping an 11-year-old boy in the face. This alleged attack occurred at the Carnarvon Primary School on the northern coast of Western Australia on July the 28th. Now, this matter is before the court, so we're not going to go into specifics, but it does raise the question whether people have the right to discipline other people's children. To discuss this morning further, Brisbane parenting expert Felicity Moore. Good morning, Felicity. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Carrie Ann.
Disciplining people's children, other people's children, is a very, very touchy issue, and I know you've dealt with it. What's your view?
Well, rarely is disciplining other people's children okay, but it's a very tricky area. I've written about it on the blog a few times, and it always generates a huge response because people are very emotional, obviously, about this issue. When someone touches your child that's not related to you, it's a very alarming thing. So is it ever okay? No, not really. But there actually is an example or a situation where, in my view, disciplining someone else's child does pass muster, and that's when your own child is being threatened or, hurt or harmed in some way.
So if a child is beating up on your child, you think it's okay to step in and at least stop that activity immediately by perhaps raising your hand to the other child?
Well, I don't know. I wouldn't advocate violence in any situation. I'm very strongly anti-smacking, and I think that violence is never the answer. And what we're trying to do when we're raising our children today is teach them that violence is not the answer. So smacking is a bit of a backward step in that regard. But I am reminded of an example when my eldest, who is now 5, was 2, and I was a very sort of nervous first-time mum. We were in a public shopping centre play gym area, and my child was getting gouged by another little boy, and I very swiftly, ferocious mother bear that I was, rushed in there and told that child in no uncertain terms, "Get your hands off my child!" And I was a very scary, big grown-up person. They were in a tunnel, a mesh tunnel, and I couldn't quite get to my child, so it was a really emotional response. And I think in those situations, removing your child from harm is the first priority. Verbally disciplining the other child, the offending child, is, in my view, okay, because if the parent is not there monitoring their child's behaviour, then it's up to surrounding adults to take action, and that's what I did.
I guess that does come down to whether the parent just arbitrarily says, "Oh, little Johnny, I'll leave him alone, he's fine," and they don't discipline. That must be the most upsetting thing when they're in a playground and this sort of activities is going on.
Well, I think so. And I mean, there's an accepted level of etiquette between mothers and when they're sharing public spaces like that. And you are always 100% responsible for your child's behaviour. So you need to, when they're that age, I mean, the age we're talking about, 18 months, 2 years, 2.5 years, when they're that young, you really need to be watching them closely, supervising their behaviour.
We've got some advice coming up here right now. Rules at home as in public. Yeah, don't scream at your children. So did big scary Felicity yell at that poor little boy a couple of years ago? Did you feel guilty about it after?
A little bit, I did. I think I overreacted quite strongly, and perhaps if a calmer approach would have been a bit more effective. But, I mean, I was a first-time mum then, and it was very nerve-wracking to see my firstborn son being gouged like that. But if I had the time over again, I would certainly advocate a calmer response and perhaps looking for the mother. My son wasn't in a life-threatening situation, so, and she did. When she saw me admonishing her child, she came charging up to me, and she was very strongly reacting as well. Saying, "How dare you discipline my child?" And we got into a little bit of a set too.
Oh, really?
Wasn't my
tell me more.
moment.
What happened then?
Well, I simply pointed out that she was failing to monitor her child, who was hurting my child, and that perhaps she needed to keep a closer eye on her child and a less close eye on the conversation and the latte that she had been watching. So it wasn't.
This is Mother Bear saying, "I suggest get away from your latte and discipline your child, if you wouldn't mind. Oh, I can just see the picture now.
I wasn't very polite.
But at least you're honest. And I tell you, I think, you know, every mother would probably react the same. And again, being nervous. And I'd just like to ask our audience, how do you react in those situations? Have you had examples that you'd like to explore with us this morning? Kerry-Ann at 9.com.au. And what kind of discipline is acceptable? Is it the stern word? Have you ever used the slap, or even the smacking? But we thank you very much, Felicity. Good morning.
Good morning, Kerry-Ann.
Little honesty there goes a long way. Okay, well, they